Hello everyone and welcome back to Taylor Time. My name's Kristopher Taylor. I'm your host. I'm a member of Feedbackers, a Toastmasters club in Beaverton, Oregon. If you'd like to become a better public speaker, if you'd like to learn how to listen, if you want to climb the corporate ladder in America but don't know how, join Toastmasters. And if you're lucky to have already found yourself in the room and want to join an all-star club, try Feedbackers. Taylor Time is an episode about helping others. Today I've brought a very special guest for a very specific reason, and his name is Eric Winger. Eric, thank you for joining me today.
Hey Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So I'm excited about this episode for a lot of reasons. So there are a lot of people here that either are a member of Toastmasters, know about Toastmasters, and they have children that they want to get involved. And I know that my introduction to you through Little Toasties, where you invited me to speak at Little Toasties, I went and I was blown away with the club and how the kids presented themselves and what you're doing to evangelize Toastmasters. And so I've got a lot of questions for you. I'll try to keep them as brief as possible, but tell the viewers out there, what is Little Toasties?
So Little Toasties is a speaking club for middle and high school students. We work on speaking and leadership. We run it in the Toastmasters form, but we're make some adjustments. And the idea is that every week we get together and we provide a safe and secure opportunity for kids that are 12, 13, 14 years old to get up and speak in front of a group, and we're about 15 to 20 people, members now, including then some parents come as well. But the idea is you get that opportunity to practice each week, and that really helps a lot of kids because those are those tough ages, that middle school years is where a lot of confidence is lost as they get older, they feel more awkward. And maybe this opportunity can help them to become a little bit more confident and to work on those speaking skills.
I never thought of that. So you, at that time in their life that they're just going through a little bit of turbulence, it's a good way to maybe center them?
I think so. I think any time you can face a fear and get through it, it's just like putting a brick in the foundation of your own confidence. It takes a little while, but it just makes you a more solid person. So we work on that each week.
Well said. I like that. And what made you start Little Toasties? What, obviously that's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. Tell the viewer out there what made you start the organization.
Well, it's a long journey, and I won't take you through the whole thing. But many years ago, I've been a Toastmaster now for almost 10 years, and probably 6 or 7 years ago, a fellow Toastmaster came to me and asked me to come speak at a different high school-based club in front of some kids. And I came, I spoke, had a great time, and later on he asked me to come back. And over time, eventually I became kind of an assistant coach there.
Okay.
And I stayed with that club for several years, saw a lot of kids grow up, worked with the high school age kids. And what happened was there became an obvious, there was an obvious gap. The kids in the back, the middle school kids, didn't get to participate because they weren't old enough yet. I think it was 14. And so there was these younger brothers and sisters. And so when another parent approached me and said, "Hey Eric, we could use some help with middle schoolers. Would you be interested?" And through a few diversions and such, we got some other that parent got some of their friends, and their friends called their friends, and we got a little club started, and that was about 2 years ago. And that club, we just 6th, 7th graders got together. We tried to do some basic speeches, a little table topic, a little impromptu speaking. And over the course of those 2 years, we've kind of grown, and we're now probably 20+ strong members with attendance between 15 and 20. Each week. We range from 6th graders who are just starting out up into early high school. So we've kind of grown, it's changed a bit, and it's going to continue to change.
For the size of the club, that's not too shabby. I like that. Yeah. And when you first started the club, what did you envision the club to be? Now, is this affiliated with Toastmasters?
So you need to be 18 years old to be a Toastmaster.
Correct.
It's one of the rules the international organization puts on its members. Now, they do have things called gavel clubs, and while we're not an official gavel club, we do model the Toastmasters model. They've been successful for 90 years, I believe, so why not emulate a good thing? Now, that's an adult-oriented club, and so we have to make some adjustments. Our speeches aren't quite as long, our table topics aren't as long. Sometimes we have meetings that maybe don't really run on script, and sometimes we don't have all the pieces put together. But in general, that learning environment, that practice, that's safe and place to try this really helps the kids. And it's been fun to watch, especially some of my kids that have been there for 2 years or so. I've really watched them grow and develop and mature, and it's been a neat process to watch.
That has to be rewarding. And can you give me a few examples? You don't have to say names, obviously, of any students, but give me a few examples of some students where you started and you saw where they were at, and with introducing the Toastmasters type format where you've seen them blossom.
Well, there's so many different ways, Chris. It's pretty amazing because every student is a unique person.
Sure.
And they all come in with certain strengths and certain weaknesses. Those strengths we really try to accentuate. If they like to do impromptu speaking, then we want to get them to do more of that. The growth areas I've seen are particularly in the leaders. We have an officers group that's elected every year. In fact, we do it twice a year, so we get more people the opportunity to be leaders. But what I see is people, raising their hands, saying they want to run for an election, winning, and then not realizing what they've really gotten themselves into, because leadership, as you know, doesn't stop when you leave the meeting. Leadership has to continue, and that's where I've seen a lot of growth. Some students have really picked up the ball and carried it, just kind of taking on their own initiative, just to make sure that other members are at the meetings, to make sure that they have speaker roles filled, to volunteer for being the Toastmaster, to volunteer to be an evaluator, or maybe bring a friend. And
so you're working to essentially, you want them to be an autonomous club where they are conducting the meeting themselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am not a manager, I am not a dictator, I hope, but I hopefully am a coach. And I would love to get this club to the point where the kids run it entirely themselves. And I come in for guidance and teaching in both leadership and speaking. That's ideal. Now that's a long journey. We're not going to get there overnight, but we're starting to take some steps in that direction. A good example is the kids recognize that some of the members weren't attending.
Okay.
Okay, that's a problem. Now,
Sure.
businesses face problems. Now, I, as a Toastmaster and an adult of X number of years, have seen a lot of these situations, and I have an understanding of some things that work and some things that don't work. But instead, I simply ask the question, okay, we have members that aren't making it to meetings, what are we going to do? So the kids talked about it at one of the officers' meetings, and they came up with this idea of Toasty Bucks.
Okay.
A Toasty Bucks.
Do tell.
Toasty Bucks is and it was all on their own.
Okay.
They decided that you would earn Toasty Bucks if you had attended a meeting. If you spoke, you got more Toasty Bucks. If you volunteered to be Toastmaster, you got even more Toasty Bucks. So the more you volunteered, the more reward there was.
Token economy.
It is, and they are running a pilot project right now, so a 4-week trial to see how this project turns out, and at the end of it, the winner will get a prize. But one of the students said, yeah, I can volunteer to manage this, and he has he's created a spreadsheet online. He shares that with the group. He updates the leaderboards, if you will. He sits in every meeting and monitors who is doing what and what roles, and he's really kind of stepped up as a leader in this area, and it's been really, really neat to see.
Wow, I did not know that. And another question that I have for you, whenever we try to nudge or motivate some folks in a traditional adult Toastmasters club, we have our own ways of putting people up to get them to speak.
Right.
How do you do that with Little Toasties? Is it a different format to challenge them? How do you challenge someone that may be shy, where they thrive in one area but not another? Is there a different tactic that you take?
Tough question. It's a very complicated answer. Because there is no one way to motivate someone. You are motivated by different means than me.
Understood. Yeah.
My own children, who are now in college, are motivated by entirely different methods and means than myself or you.
Sure.
So how do you motivate? Well, a lot of it is letting the kids figure out what motivation works for them. One of the things that our VP of Education has done in conjunction with the prior VP of Education is to create a schedule. And she will map out the speakers for X number of weeks in advance, and then make sure that every member has an opportunity to speak. So that way a shy member who maybe won't raise their hand to volunteer,
right,
actually has, if you will, the nudge and opportunity to speak. So that's something they created on their own. Again, I try to let them do as much as possible. Another way that I try to help out is sometimes a student may not want to come to the front when they're starting, and sometimes I'll walk up on the front with them if they're feeling very nervous or something, just to let them know, hey, this is okay. It's a safe space. Yes, people are looking at you, but we're going to get through it and we're going to survive. I also try to have a lot of fun. I try to keep, I try to help people laugh. Laugh at your own mistakes. Laugh at just something funny to keep the mood light. And so part of my coaching is each meeting I have a coach's segment, if you will, and I give each of the speakers some feedback. So I'll spend that 10 minutes or so just giving feedback, and I try to keep it light, but I also try to involve them.
So essentially, if I understand this correctly, you're the general evaluator, if you will, at the end of the Toastmasters.
Right, in a regular Toastmasters meeting, the general evaluator gets up and gives feedback to the evaluators and on the meeting as a whole. I give some feedback to the speakers. The speakers then have gotten 2 pieces of feedback, one from a fellow member and then a little bit of coaching from me. And I'll try to not only help the speaker but also the evaluators as well, and say, hey, that was a really insightful thing you said, and how can we improve that? And I'll open it up and ask the whole group. There's a question here. How do we solve that? So my general evaluation isn't 10 minutes of me babbling, I hope. Instead, I hope it's more of an interactive where we're talking back and forth and creating ideas. So try to have fun, try to keep it light, try to keep things moving, but just try to be encouraging as well, and just be supportive, be there for them.
Awesome, I like that. And so we're going to take a brief moment for our viewers, and we'll be back in a few moments to talk about some of the speakers at Little Toasties and how they're branching out. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Eric Bergman. As a member of TV Toastmasters, I get to learn all about video production, running a TV show. Plus, I get to be on camera interviewing really fascinating Toastmasters who share their stories about their hobbies, their activities, and how they benefit our community. I also get to bring in members of my home Toastmasters club. We toasted in Lake Oswego. They get to tell their stories and build their communication skills. We're bringing a voice for District 7 Toastmasters here in Oregon and Southwest Washington to a TV audience. And TV Toastmasters is a great way to learn how to spread your message and share your stories with a wider audience.
Welcome back to Taylor Time. I'm your host, Kristopher Taylor, and I'm with Eric Winger of Little Toasties. And we've covered a lot of ground today, but I do have a few more questions with you before we wrap up. And I'd like to know, how do you bring or select the speakers to come in and talk with your group? What does that look like, and what kind of effect have they had with your group?
When you're referring to speakers, you're talking about the outside adults, or other students that I've asked to come in to speak to the students in our group. What I am looking for are people who can inspire, the people who are doing good work in the community. Maybe they got a particular skill set that they can teach to the students. When we've had speakers come in who are maybe teaching them a particular speaking style or something, maybe a little bit about humor. But we've also had some outside conversations with people that maybe they're not as comfortable with. One of the sad moments of recent history is when there was a shooting in Pittsburgh at a Jewish synagogue. Yeah. And this was on the news, the kids were talking about it. I asked a member of the local Jewish community to come in and talk about how can we build bridges and mend fences over something that's so tragic. We had one of the assistants to the mayor of Sacramento come in and talk about government, how to get involved in your government, how to be engaged. We had a former international president of Toastmasters come and talk about his youth, learning how to speak in elections and how to lose elections and how to win them. So we're looking for inspiration. We've also had students, older high school students come in. We had a fellow who was at Liberty High School at the time, and he had his own balloon making business. And he came in with high energy. He talked at a level that the kids really understood. He made balloon animals for them and just got them to think about, okay, what are your goals and such. So what I'm looking for are people who are doing good work in the community, who can inspire, to teach, and generally raise our awareness or broaden the horizons of my students.
Wonderful. That sounds like it's very helpful for the Little Toasties. And another question I have, are there other clubs out there like Little Toasties?
There are few. They're few and far between. It is difficult to get a group of students, or high school or middle school, to commit to that. The high school sports schedules and just robotics schedules really impact a lot of the time that kids maybe used to have for things like this. So there's not a lot. I believe there are 2 here in Beaverton, but we're one of the few right here in the West Portland area, in the west suburbs.
You know, another question I had, what are some of the benefits of kids that stay, that come in, see the benefits, go through the process? They're scared in the beginning, they become comfortable, they become a Toastmaster, they're organized. Tell me some of the benefits of them staying long term.
There are so many. They're small things sometimes, but other times they're fairly large things. We've had students compete in outside speech contests. We had one girl last year at the Valley Catholic speech contest. I believe she got second. And there are dozens and hundreds of competitors in these contests. So she placed second. Yeah, she did very, very well. There is also an open mic night at the Beaverton Library that a few of our members have gone and just stood in front of a room and told a little story without notes. So they're expanding, getting out there, just kind of testing the waters where their comfort zone is. But also I see it in their presentation and leadership. I've seen kids who come in, their first speech, they'll go to the back of the stage and they'll just lean against the wall. And then you watch over time how they just gradually come out. They get a little bit more comfortable. They look more confident.
Sure.
Their structure of their speeches becomes better. They communicate so much better, and they're more polished and professional, even at these young ages. So
I agree.
I see this again and again over time. It takes a long time, but anybody who joins us, I always encourage them to stick with it, because the benefits long term are indescribable.
And how can they invite more of their friends to join Little Toasties?
Well, the club has taken a few initiatives. They created their own marketing flyer.
Really?
They did it all themselves. They had a logo contest, and they had awarded a prize for the logo. Then the logo went on to the flyer, and that flyer got distributed at the school. They're working on a website now. They've got it
internally.
Yep.
Wow.
These kids are doing it themselves. I am told it's coming soon, but
Okay.
I'm not. I'm hands off on it.
Okay.
I'm just here to advise. The biggest thing they can do, though, is to talk to their friends. The students themselves can talk to their friends. The parents can talk to other parents and invite their children in to come and just check it out.
And parents can attend this meeting.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
I encourage parents to come and attend. It's an open invitation at any time, especially when we have a guest speaker.
Okay.
I like to have the fellow who did from the Jewish community. I specifically asked the parents to come so that afterwards the parents and the students could have a conversation in the car ride home about that very, very important topic of how we build bridges after
Wow.
a tragedy. So I encourage parents to always come and just be with their students and listen and see how well they're doing.
Wow. I've gotten a lot out of this episode. And again, Taylor Time, it's about helping others. I feel that you can help a lot of people out there for Toastmasters that want to get their kids involved, that have family members that want to become Toastmasters. I think this could really help them. So if they want to learn more information, if they want to know, to be able to find you and locate Little Toasties, where would they go?
Until we get our website up, there's no landing place, but you can contact me, Eric Winger,
Okay.
and my email is eric, E-R-I-C, @thewingers.net.
Okay.
You can call me, 503-516-6271. We're Little Toasties Toastmasters. We welcome all inquiries and visitors. Love to have you stop by. Just check us out.
Wow, this has been a great segment. Thank you for joining, and I hope everyone out there can learn something new today. I hope you come back, and until next time, see you later. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Welcome to an opportunity to take the next step of your professional speaking journey. I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever wished you were a star in a television show or at an event where the media is interviewing bystanders and you are wanting to be picked to give your opinion of the event? Or even in the smallest sense, you're at a sports game and secretly hope that your smiling face would appear on that big jumbo screen TV? But the jumbo screen always finds the fans with the painted faces. And you think to yourself, maybe next time. Well, what if I can offer you a chance to be on TV? Would you take it? That is what I want to offer you now. I'm Dottie Love, Associate TV Producer and Director. Toastmasters International is one of the largest organizations whose mission is to help improve your speaking skills. And District 7 is expanding your opportunities to do speaking via television. We have 4 fully equipped television studios and TV Toastmaster broadcasts to over 500,000 homes, plus a YouTube channel. Who knew? We want to invite you to take advantage of using media and television, either in front or behind the scenes. Let me share a few options that you have. First, you can be a guest on a show. Highlight your business or hobby or your community interest. Anything you're passionate about. Be a featured guest. Secondly, you can train to be a host on an ongoing TV segment. We will train you for that. Third, what about creating your own talk show? We will train you for that as well and give you access to a community media studio to do just that. Or lastly, be behind the scenes, either running a camera or editing shows. You decide which avenue is best for you, and our TV Toastmasters team will help you to navigate to get the most out of your media experience. Personally, I've done them all. I started as a guest, went to hosting, up to directing my own TV show. I don't tell you this to impress you. I tell you this to impress upon you that your personal growth with Toastmasters is directly related to what you take advantage of. And I encourage you to be bold in looking for opportunities to stretch and grow. If this intrigues you, or if you have club members who you think that might be interested in this, please contact us here at TV Toastmasters. I'm Dottie Love, and you can reach me or any of us in the TV Toastmasters family at the contact information at the bottom of the screen. You can also find us on the web. Our website is 7512.toastmastersclub.org.